I think most of us have read that book, Moby Dick. It was a big book, remember? Okay, and then they made it into this beautiful musical opera, and it's gotten rave reviews in other cities, but now it's coming to Lincoln Center finally. This timeless American novel set to open as an opera on Monday. Christal Young, Moby Dick is an opera.
Yes, exactly. So forget what you thought before was it's just going to take me 6 months to read this book and then I'll be able to talk about it. Now this production puts it on a grand stage. It sounds and looks outstanding. Take a look. Author Herman Melville's sea-drenched, heaven-storming epic Moby Dick was written in 1851. Now the timeless story is set to take New York audiences by storm. The classic novel is being reinterpreted as an opera. Director Lenny Foglia is known for his work on Broadway. Now he's bringing his talents to the Met.
It's an acoustic house, which means they can't be facing upstage when they sing like you might do with an actor. So you have to be, you know, one simple rule is make sure they can always see the conductor. And so staging is a little bit of geometry. I think the performers appreciate that there's someone in there focusing on the character, focusing on motivations, because they are the talented, brilliant musicians. I don't need to teach them anything in that department. So I bring what my skill set brings to the opera world.
Every great opera adaptation has a librettist. A librettist is similar to a screenwriter. In this case, translating the story of the book into words that can be sung on stage. Gene Scher is the librettist on this project.
Creating an opera is a little bit like creating the outline for a silent film. It's like, you know, when you think of silent films, the big gestures, and very sort of simple big gestures, and that are illuminated by the cinematographer. Well, here it's being illuminated by the composer. It's the composer who is really infuses the deepest meaning for the piece. So, as a librettist, your job is to try to set it up so that the composer can win the day.
What is your process? Do you read through everything first and then go, okay, let me make almost like an outline of like what parts I want to pop?
That's exactly right. You got that right. I mean, I read the book many, many times, and then sort of conceived an outline of how this scene by scene, this story could be distilled into an operatic treatment. People always ask, what comes first, the words or the music? The words come first, because the music is illuminating what the words are, what the dramatic story that is being depicted entails. So for me, it took about 2 years to write this libretto. I wrote it certainly as I was coming up with ideas. I would run them by Jake Hagee, the composer, and we would, through a back and forth, we created this opera together.
I think young and old alike really respond to it. I've gotten drawings and poems and songs that young people have written for me after seeing it, as well as beautiful letters and testimonials from, you know, people who are experienced opera goers. So you don't have to read the book to experience the adventure and the drama and the heart of what Melville was getting at.
What I want people to take away from this is an insight into what Herman Melville was trying to say about society.
It's hard to beat the beauty, artistry, and elegance of an opera. Both the librettist, composer, and director agree if you've never been to an opera or you haven't been in a long time, this production of Moby Dick is literally the one to watch.
This is an excellent first opera. For people who have like thought about it but not been sure, absolutely dive in.
I like it.
It's a whale of a show.
Okay. You're a poet, but I think you know it. If you're interested in checking out Moby Dick, don't delay. It has a limited run at the Met. It opens on Monday and runs until March 29th. Rosanna, I want to sing.
I love
to
your
you,
story.
sing to me. Let's just sing until we hit the break. I really liked it. Don't delay. Go see it.
Is it a limited run?
Yes, until March 29th. You have to check it out. I forget how gorgeous Lincoln Center is. You go inside and you just instantly want to put your pinky out. You feel like you have a lot more zeros at the end of your bank account. You know, it's just a lovely, lovely venue.
It is. It's
so
a
go
very
check
pretty
it out.
place.
Go to the
I love
Night
that.
at the Opera.
I love that.
All right.
Okay, thank you for getting us all cultured around
Yes,
here.
yes, I try.
All right, now that we got all cultured, now we're going back down to reality. Mike Woods, are you there?
Really? Have you heard yourself speak? Come on now. All right, so here's what we have going on. You're kind of right.
It was amazing that a black woman could have a television show in 1950, and that she was hosting it.
This was the time when there was a black person on TV, you called all your family and said, hey, there's one black person on TV.
Well, there's a new documentary out. It's honoring the remarkable life and legacy of the beloved jazz artist Hazel Scott. She used her star power to become a voice in the civil rights movement, but later became blacklisted in Hollywood during the Red Scare in the 1950s. Her story is now being told in American Masters, The Disappearance of Miss Scott. It is streaming right now. Here to tell us all about it is the director and producer, Nicole London. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
So what was it about Hazel that just got your attention?
Well, when I was first approached to do this film, I thought I knew Hazel Scott. I knew she'd been a jazz pianist. I'd seen the famous clip of her playing the two pianos. But when I really dived into her story, I realized there was so much that I didn't know. That she'd been married to Adam Clayton Powell, that at one time she was one of the highest paid black actresses in Hollywood, that she demanded certain things in her contracts that she wouldn't play for segregated audiences, that she was such a strong advocate for herself and for civil rights.
Wow, where did she get that bravery from? Was her family behind her? Who was like kind of helping her, break all those glass ceilings?
Well, she emigrated to the U.S. at the age of 4 from Trinidad, and it was really her mother and her grandmother that really instilled in her this singularity of purpose, to believe in her talent and to nurture that. So she played with her mother in her mother's band. Her mother had an all-women's jazz band.
How fun.
And then Hazel, she took her to Juilliard at the age of 8 and demanded that they hear her, and she auditioned, was admitted to Juilliard at age 8.
Wow. What a talent. Who did you talk to for this documentary?
Well, our biggest advocate was Adam Clayton Powell III, her son, her only son. And then we also spoke with Karen Chilton, who wrote a wonderful biography about Hazel Scott. And then we just did a ton of research on her especially throughout New York, because she was a New Yorker.
Right. What do you hope people come away with after seeing this documentary?
Well, first we want people to discover Hazel Scott again, to familiarize themselves with her talent, her artistry, her activism, but also to kind of take from her the personal lessons. She predates the civil rights movement by a good few decades, but she took on personal battles. She's the one that decided that she was not going to play before segregated audiences. In fact, Martin Luther King said the first time he ever sat in a desegregated audiences was at one of her shows.
Wow. And then she got basically on that list during was it McCarthy era?
Yeah, she was blacklisted in this book called Red Channels, which was ironic because here's someone that had been an advocate for the war effort. She performed benefits for troops. She played for troops. And then to have, years later to be accused of being a communist was a huge slap in the face. And she demanded and got a testimony before Congress, but I believe the damage had been done at that time, and
there was no way
show.
she can come back. There was no way she could come back.
No, there was really no way she could come back from that. Once you kind of when your name was put down in that book, it really kind of signed her fate.
That's too bad. I think we have another clip from your documentary. No, I'm sorry, we don't. You're going to have to watch it on PBS. It's streaming. But Nicole, you're a Jersey girl. I love this. I wanted to find out how you got in the documentary world, because weren't you like a pre-med major or something in college?
I did. I went to Johns Hopkins University as a pre-med student. That didn't last, but then I ended up going to broadcasting school, actually, with hopes of being a legend like yourself.
Oh, please. So, Nicole, was your family okay with you moving careers?
They never understood it.
Do they understand it now? Because you have done some incredible documentaries, Miles Davis, Black Panthers, just to name a few, right?
Yeah, they get it. They appreciate seeing my name in the credits. That's the biggest thing for them.
And you still live in the area, right?
I still live in the area. My family's still based in Bloomfield, New Jersey, and I live in Brooklyn, New York.
I love it. What's next on your documentary sites?
I actually have a film that I co-directed with Stanley Nelson of Firelight Films on funk music called We Want the Funk, also airing on PBS next month.
Oh, how fun!
In April.
April. Okay, it's almost next month. Anyway, it's so nice to meet you, Nicole. Thank you so much for being here. And you can catch The Disappearance of Hazel Scott on PBS right now.
Yes, streaming on pbs.org, and you can find all the information about the film there.
Nicole London, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks.